Hey folks, Jono here. Just taking a quick run through my Postman Pat van I'm making. It's a ride-in Postman Pat van for kids, specified by my daughter. So today I'm just taking a quick run through. I'm going to weld up the body and weld the chassis up. Project's been going on for quite some time now. So I've got a body on the chassis. So first thing first I'm doing is drilling out all the pop rivets or blind rivets that hold the body onto the chassis. Got a quick tap round with the hammer, just knocking the centres of them, and then drill through the same size drill bit I used to fit the rivets. So drilled out the rivets, lifted the body off using the hoist, and just go around here moving the rest of the panels. Again, just pop the rivets on. Steering column there, it's got a split clamp on it, so just undoing the split clamp, pulling out the cabling and pulling out the brake lever, and then back to drilling the rivets out of the floor. Okay, on the front of the car there's a crossbar to add a bit of stiffness, stop the front end moving if it ever gets nudged. And due to the position of the lights, the crossbar gets in the way, so just resetting it here, I cut the bar and just putting a kick in it so it clears around the back of the lights, meaning that the front headlights can fit in no problem. Just go around here, pulse welding it in and go around all the joints. We're using the same technique, so it's just pulses of heat, move on to the next spot, pulse of heat all the way around just to get a good depth of penetration with a fairly neat weld around all the joints. So just working my way around the chassis, doing this to all the tubes. You might be thinking it's a little bit excessive, the amount of tubes in there for a kid's ride-on Postman Pat van, and that's definitely the case. Want to make sure though, no matter what she does to it, that it's a safe chassis, isn't going to collapse on top of her. Also means as she gets a bit older, we can look at upgrading it. So you can just about see here that this is based as a tube frame chassis, mainly 25mm tubes, with 19mm tube reinforcements on cross sections and lightly loaded areas, built on top of a mobility scooter, so a class 3 mobility scooter. Removed the seat post, stripped back the base of it to just the chassis, and then I've tubed it out from there. So here we go, I'm just having welded the body together on the top seam, just going back through and back welding all the seams to make sure I've got full penetration through both sides. And the reason I'm doing this is to make sure that when I start panel beating the body to start flattening out seams, that I don't get cracks start to come back through. So just going down here, washing back through, almost no filler material being added, it's mainly just welding back over the seam, and it draws back through any material it needs from the other side from the weld. So I go through doing this before I file and panel beat the other side of the weld, meaning it's got something to draw through without causing dips in the body, and just starts to crack up. So, spotting in a few point welds or drilled holes for marking out purposes. So just spot them back in with the TIG set. Yep, doing the same thing here on the roof seam, big long seam. I'm not particularly great at welding aluminium. This is the first time I've really done it to any great degree. Quite a learning experience. Lots of accidentally dipping electrodes, having to then clean back material, clean back the electrode on the bench grinder and put the electrode back in and weld again. So here I'm just going through. Again, it's the same thing, no filler material being added, it's just washing back then the back side of the weld, getting it to penetrate fully through. So here we see me doing some aerobic exercise, building up those quads and calf muscles, torturing myself in a sort of bent over position, trying to get myself to a position to be able to panel beat things. So using a sort of a domed hammer and dolly there just to dress back the weld. Having to be quite careful because ali's quite soft, so you can tap away on it and you can get it to thin out the material, but thinning out the material then means it's got excess material, which then can mean that you end up with a situation where you're trying to crown the panel again. So being very gentle there, and I'm just going back over on the other side with a surf form plane just to take off the excess material. Then swapping back and forth just to dress it all up flat. Where the weld was below the surface, I've just driven it back out with the hammer and dolly just to lift it up above the surface of the flat panels. So when you go over with the surf form, it takes the material off the weld, not off the panel next to it. Although because they're big flat panels, generally the surf form glides across the top rather than really moving much material. Back end of the body had to add quite a bit of material, so I'm using the die grinder there to take out the crown of the material before I start using the surf form and files to take it down. So that's just a carbide burr on the end of the small die grinder, and then using the surf form and then a file just to finish off on the corners. Just using all that. So whatever we end up with, not the best seam in the world, but not the worst. So thanks so much for watching.